When was Boz? Boz must have been handled, before 2002? Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, it is.
Okay, yeah, before I took it over, so,
He's got 2 names, and then he's got,
okay.
that was renamed, about the mall, he was involved in construction, and pushed it up to city council.
Okay,
On you.
all right, I'll reach out.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
You're still hanging in there, huh?
Some form of corporal punishment.
You're still gonna be here when I'm your age, huh?
Everybody here?
Take care.
Take it easy. How's it going?
Not too bad, how are you?
He's a self-appointed man of honor.
Ed,
He thinks he's very
whenever
important.
you're ready.
Okay, the meeting will please come to order. This is a advertised meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear petitions for relief from the strict provisions of our city ordinance. In matters of this type, the decision of the board is final. In respect, it does not go to the mayor or the city council for any further action. If you disagree with our decision, you do have recourse on the court of record. We also hear petitions for variations of land use. In matters of this type, we act as an advisory committee to the mayor and city council, making a recommendation either for or against it. Final decision on land use is made by the mayor and the city council. Secretary, call the roll.
Ms. Safford? Mr. Alessio?
Here.
Mr. McShane?
Here.
Mr. Knoxtree?
Here.
Mr. Riggs? Ms. Rohr? Mr. Hennessy?
Here, we have a quorum.
First order of business would be approval of minutes from the October 20th zoning board meeting.
Motion would be in order.
So move.
Second.
We have motion and second to approve the motions. Call the board.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Knoxtree?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
Next order of business would be citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anybody that would like to speak on agenda items? Please also be aware that we allow you to speak when those cases are called, but if anybody would want to speak on an agenda item at this time, they're able to do so. Seeing none, we could move on.
Wait a minute.
We've got somebody moving out here.
Yes, you're not paying attention. So that's how vigilant you guys are. You guys just don't care. You just like to move on and not accept to hear anybody. I live over here on Vetter Road with this petition number 22-71 with a special use permit for these two properties to be used as a truck terminal, a truck and travel plaza with a truck terminal. I am opposed to this. This is too close to our properties, and it will affect our personal lives with the noisy semis. I mean, we have a gas station at the end of our road here already, at Vetter Road and Center Point Way. I know how noisy these trucks are. I've been up to that gas station. These trucks never shut off. And with that, there's noise from the trucks, there's the air pollution from the trucks, and also the effect on nature, how many trees they're gonna be taken down, and all the squirrels and animals that rely on these trees to live in, and all the prairie back there. You know, how many trees they're gonna take down. I already fighting squirrels like it is because of trees taken down with the previous properties. You know, I got squirrels invading my house. You know, they are very damaging. And I don't see anybody trying to come up with money to help me exterminate these animals. And the green effect, the effect on climate change. They take down these trees and invite more trucks to be sitting here running 24/7, wasting fuel and everything, and negatively affecting the climate. This is why climate change is so drastically happening, because your local official governments do not care enough. You know, we hear this talk about over and over again about the negative effect on climate change. And these trucks are negative impacting, even though if they put that blue diesel additive in their tanks to get rid of the black sooty diesel exhaust, the smell of the diesel exhaust is still there. And the damage is still going on. Just because you can't see the black diesel exhaust coming out, that doesn't mean that they ain't putting dangerous exhaust and pollution into the air. They still are. You go up to the gas stations, you could smell the diesel exhaust. And the noise, like I said, and it affects our quality of life. I'm asking you guys to, once and for all, this is going too far. We have too many trucks in our area, and when you start building houses, building these things up to people's houses, which we are used to the country living, we are used to the peaceful quietness, and having our, this is what we are used to. This is why we lived in the country, because we don't want the city noises. So I'm asking you to please, you guys don't want to take responsibility, if you guys are gonna let this stuff keep passing, then you guys need to start being held accountable for everything. Because it all starts here.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item at this time? Seeing none, we can move on to old.
I'm here to talk about the petition 2022-69 for a special use permit. I'm not against the project, but what I'd like to do is find out why the PIN number of that property was changed to a new address. All the properties are on McNutter Street that are industrial. This one is on Caterpillar where it's a residential area. And all I'd like to do is see the entrance to be on McDonough where it belongs instead of Caterpillar. And also, I will work with the storage unit property owners to do some minor changes. I'd like to see a more decorative fence put up to protect the people that are closely behind there. And I can actually show you how close that this could be done.
Sir,
Please?
sir, this is not the time to go around and show these. We're gonna call the case
Okay.
later, and you'll have time then. This is just to, if you have comments in regards to a certain case at this time. It'll be called again.
All right, thank you very much.
Chairman Hennessy, for meeting minutes purposes, could he be sworn in?
I'm not sure about
No.
citizens to be heard, if they have to be sworn in. I don't believe so.
No, they're not
No.
giving
He can
testimony.
state his name and address, so when meeting minutes are being taken, then he's,
If they appear for the petition and want to speak on it, they're sworn in. This is just open discussion.
okay.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak on an agenda item at this time? Okay, moving on to old business public hearing. We have a variation on signage to allow a wall sign that does not face a public right-of-way located at 2211 West Jefferson Street. That's being requested to be tabled again. And this one continues to, just kind of be pushed. It has to do with the overall use, and so they're not ready for this sign variance again. They keep telling us they will be soon, so December.
That's a problem between staff and them, or it's just on their part?
It's not a problem, it's just, the two different cases kind of crossed each other, and the one is still working its way through for the actual use. If that gets sorted out and gets approved, then this one could follow.
Okay. Want a motion to table?
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second to table the petition. Poll the board, please.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
Moving on, under new business, public hearing, petition number 2022-65. The applicant is Jose Luis Rios Escobar. Status of the applicant is the owner, let's see, the location is 1109 Nicholson Street. The request is a series of variations. Under purpose, the petitioner is requesting a series of variations from the city zoning ordinance to reduce the front yard setback from 30 to 17.5 feet, to reduce the northern side yard setback from 8.44 feet to 7.64 feet, and to enclose the existing covered front porch. The subject property contains R2 zoning under section 47-6.4 of the city zoning ordinance, requires a 30-foot front yard setback, in addition to a minimum 8-foot side yard setback for two-story homes. Under site-specific information, the property contains an existing covered front porch. The east end of the porch encroaches approximately 12.5 feet into the 30-foot front yard setback area. The proposed enclosure of the front porch would be 8 foot by 16 foot and would not increase the existing nonconformity. Design sketches of the proposed enclosure have been included in the staff report packet. The enclosure would match the existing style and color of the main building's front elevation. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character: to the north is R2 single family, south is the same, R2 single family, and east and west is also the same, R2 single family zoning. Under applicable regulations, section 47-6.4, yard and lot requirements in the R2 single family residential district. Section 47-19.8, criteria for granting a variation, and you could refer to the attachment on that. Under discussion, the approval of the requested variations would allow the construction of the proposed enclosure over the existing front porch at 1109 Nicholson Street with a 17.5 feet front yard setback. Main building on the property also contains an existing 7.64 side yard setback along the north side of the building that is legally non-conforming. The finding of facts needed to support the requested variation, as outlined in section 47-19.8 of the city code, establishes a practical difficulty that warrants the requested variation. Subject property is located on a pre-existing lot that only contains a 17.5 foot front yard setback and a 7.64 north side yard setback. Without the variation, there could be no legal non-conforming accessory structure placed within the front yard setback area. Furthermore, the attached photos show that several other properties within the same block as the subject property has similar enclosures with similar front yard setbacks. Front yard setbacks within the subject block area vary anywhere between 10 feet and 30 feet. However, most are less than the required 30 feet minimum. Staff finds that the proposed front porch will not be out of character with the surrounding area, and that unique circumstances exist due to lot constraints. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve the requested variation, the following conditions would be included. 1, construction of the new enclosed front porch will follow all applicable building, city, state, and national building codes. And 2, should the property become a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and a possible revocation of the variance. And that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner present? Come on forward. I must swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Your name and address, please.
My name's Hilda Rios and address is 1109 Nicholson Street.
Any comments you'd like to make?
No, just hope that you approve.
Okay, any questions by the board? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition. Ask the board for discussion and a motion.
I move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve petition 2022-85. Pull the 65, pull the board.
Mr. Noctrice,
Aye.
Mr. Alessio,
Aye.
Mr. McShane,
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy.
Aye.
The
Thank you.
petition- The petition is approved, there's no need for city council action on that, so that is final. Next petition number, 2022-66. The applicant owner is John Milivek and Diane Hill. The location is 410 Buell Avenue. Request is variations. Purpose is the applicant is requesting two variations to allow the use of a fifth dwelling unit located in a separate structure above the garage on their property at 410 Buell Avenue. These two variations are: one, to allow two main structures on one lot, and two, to reduce the minimum lot area per family from 2,500 square feet to 2,039 square feet per unit. Zoning Board of Appeals makes the final decision on these variation requests. Additionally, the site has existing non-conforming setbacks for a multifamily dwelling in an R5 zoning district, which include: one, the distance between the four-unit building and the garage; two, the distance between the four-unit building and the multifamily building at 412 Buell Avenue; three, the side yard setback for the four-unit building and for the garage; and fourth, the sum of side yards for the four-unit building and the garage. Section 47-17.22, 3, non-conforming structures of the zoning ordinance allows pre-existing nonconformities to remain as long as the structures are not enlarged or altered in a way that increases their nonconformity. Under site-specific information, the property in question is 10,197 square feet in area and is zoned R5 high-density multifamily. The lot contains two structures: the main building, which has 4 rental units, and the rear garage structure with a vacant dwelling unit above. The garage unit is around 550 square feet and has 1 bedroom. The ground level garage space has a storage area and parking for 1 vehicle. The main house contains approximately 2,432 square feet of living area, and each unit has 1 bedroom. The main house was built around 1901 and has been a 4-unit since at least the late 1930s or early 1940s. Based on city directory data, the garage unit may have existed as early as 1961, and more certainly since 1975. Petitioner purchased the property in 1995. In 1999, the zoning board denied a request for a series of variations to allow 2 main structures on 1 lot to permit the 5th dwelling unit. The staff report and meeting minutes from this prior request are attached here too. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, this property is located in the Cathedral area neighborhood on a section of Buell Avenue with a mix of R5 high-density multifamily residential, R3 1 and 2 family residential, and R2 single-family residential zoning. Multifamily properties on this block contain between 2 to 5 units. The zoning and land use for the adjacent properties are as follows. To the north is R5 multifamily residential. To the south is R3 multifamily residential. To the east is R2 and R5 single family and multifamily residential. To the west is R2 single family residential. Under applicable regulations, section 47-17.15 general regulations, 1 main building per lot. Under section 47-9.1 R5 yard and lot requirements. Section 47-19.8 findings of facts supporting a variation, you can refer to the attachment. Under discussion, the petitioner would like to use an existing dwelling unit located above the garage on their property at 410 Buell Avenue. Petitioner needs the approval of a variations in order to use the 5th unit, since it is located in a separate structure from the 4 existing units, and the zoning ordinance states that only 1 main building can be located on a single lot. Additionally, the petitioner requests approval of a variation to reduce the required lot area per family to allow the 5th unit. Property is zoned R5 high-density multifamily residential, which allows 5 units. The owners purchased this property in 1995. According to the petitioner, the garage unit was in use at that time. The owners did extensive remodeling work on all of the units soon after purchasing the property. In 1999, the owners applied for variations to allow the use of the 5th unit in order to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations, but the zoning board denied that request 3-2 at their June 17th, 1999 meeting. Fifth unit has been vacant since that time. According to the 1999 staff report, the property has been in the city's rental inspection program since 1986. Property currently has a 6-year certificate for the 4-unit building that expires in 2027. Neighborhood Services performed a walkthrough of the 5th unit on October 24 of this year. Neighborhood Services noted minor violations that will need to be resolved prior to occupancy. If the variances are approved, but has no concerns about the unit being rented once this work is completed. Property owners are aware of the needed repairs and will comply with any building permit and neighborhood services requirements. If the variances are approved, this unit would be included with the existing 4-unit in the rental inspection program. Let's see, planning staff spoke with the Cathedral Area Preservation Association, and I think they're here in representation, and probably will give feedback when time comes. The site has a paved driveway and parking area along the north side of the property. In between the two structures, minimum required parking is available to support 5 dwelling units. It should be noted that the petitioner also owns the adjacent property at 412 Buell Avenue, which is also a 4-unit building. This property is also on the rental inspection program, has a 6-year certificate that expires in 2027. Under conditions, if the zoning board approves the requested variations, the following conditions would be included. 1, that off-street parking spaces for a minimum of 8 vehicles shall remain in the future. 2, that the use of the property shall not be expanded in the future. 3, that the owner shall resolve all code violations prior to obtaining a certificate of occupancy. And 4, that the property shall continue to be enrolled in and comply with the city's rental inspection program. And that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner here? Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Name and address, please.
Diane Hill, 22538 South Joseph Avenue in Shanahan.
Any comments you'd like to make?
We have actually owned this property since 1985, and it's been rehabbed. Every time somebody moves out, we redo it. We take very good care of our properties. Most of the people that do live there have been longtime tenants. I would really like to be able to utilize this apartment above there. We did, so it was a 5-unit, 410 was. He took it down to a 4-unit because of how small the apartments were to make it better for people to live in there. And then, so I was hoping to use this one as a 5th.
Well, you and I are probably the only two that were here in 1999 or 95 when we had this before us before. I think the reason it was denied at that time, although it was a split vote, was because of pressure by the Cathedral Area Homeowners Association. I don't believe that's present now. So, are there any questions by the board?
How many people are we talking about, like, to live up there?
There's no children that live in any of the apartments. They are too small. Mostly single people live in the apartments. And so this would be, it's just a 1-bedroom. So we try and keep it down to 1 person living in the apartments.
Have you had any complaint calls?
No. And I think that was one of the issues back in '99, if I was reading the paperwork correctly. And the neighborhood has changed dramatically, and it's very quiet. Everybody gets along where they're at. They've been there a long time, same people. So no, nothing as of 20 years that I know about.
Any other questions? Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Well, as you say, things have changed, and apparently your homeowners association has too. So I close the petition and ask the board for discussion and a motion.
I move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Pull the board, please.
Mr. Lucio?
Aye.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
So this petition is approved. That does not go to city council, so that action is final. Moving on to the next agenda item, we have two applications combined with this one, 2022-67 and 2022-68. The applicant, excuse me, is Mia Darden. Status of the applicant is a potential tenant. The owner is Stephen Jaritsky. The location is 221 Springfield Avenue, units 4 and 5. Requested action is a special use permit. Under purpose, the petitioner is requesting a special use permit to allow a daycare center in a B1 neighborhood business zoning district located at 221 Springfield Avenue, units 4 and 5, per the zoning ordinance, section 47-5.2A3. Daycare centers may be allowed in the B1 zoning district, excuse me, provided that the use is not less than 40 feet from any lot in a residential zoning district. 75 square feet of play area is provided. Outdoor areas enclosed by a fence with 3-foot height. Proposed daycare center also requires a variation from section 47-17.17N8 of the city zoning ordinance, which requires 1 parking space for every 180 square feet of gross floor area. The 2 units within the subject property contain an estimated area of 54 square feet. This area requires 14 spaces. The petitioner is requesting a variation to reduce the parking requirement from 14 to 8 parking spaces to allow for supplemental parking for potential future users of the subject commercial building. Under site-specific information, the subject property is approximately 0.6 acres in size and contains a commercial building with 5 units. Proposed daycare center use would occupy the northern 2 units, which are units 4 and 5. A salon recently opened in the southernmost unit, unit 1. Temporary voter registration facility is operating in the middle 2 units, units 2 and 3. Site is accessed by 2 separate access points from Springfield Avenue. Existing directional signage along the Springfield Avenue frontage directs visitors to enter the property from the northern access point, which then guides traffic southbound to the eastern parking area before traffic exits at the southern access point onto Springfield Avenue. The eastern parking area, which is located between the commercial building and Springfield Avenue, contains 24 parking spaces. An additional 12 parking spaces are currently located west of the commercial building to the rear of the building. Staff directed the petitioner to seek out the northern 2 units within the buildings so as to avoid potential traffic conflicts with the proposed outdoor play area, which will be located on the northern portion of the west parking area. The resulting alignment would situate the outdoor play area directly behind the proposed daycare center. Site plan shown below in figure 1 provides a proposed general layout under surrounding zoning, land use, and character. To the north is B1 commercial. To the south is B1 office. To the east is RB hospital. To the west is I1 commercial. Under applicable regulations, section 4711.2AA, special uses, neighborhood business districts, section 47-5.2A3, special uses, daycare centers. Section 47.5.2C, criteria for issuance of a special use permit. You can see the attached petition. Section 47-17.N8, off-street parking regulations for a retail restaurant district. Section 47-19.8, criteria for granting a variation, and you could refer to the attachment. Under discussion, approval of the requested special use permit, along with the requested variation to reduce the required parking would allow development of a daycare center within the northern 2 units, 4 and 5, the commercial building at 221 Springfield Avenue. State of Illinois Department of Children's Family Services requires daycare centers operators to meet an extensive number of conditions. for a state-issued daycare center license can be procured. In addition to meeting the city's requirements for obtaining a general business license, a special use permit would be conditioned to require that the applicant meet all state code requirements and obtain a state of Illinois daycare center license. Petitioner estimates that the proposed daycare center would have a maximum license capacity of 30 children between the two units. City and state codes require an outdoor play area consisting of 75 square feet per child for the total number of children using the outdoor play area at any time. Petitioner is proposing an outdoor play area of approximately 2,325 square feet, which would meet the area requirement. The city's zoning ordinance further requires a minimum 3-foot high fence to be placed around the perimeter of the outdoor play area. Proposed outdoor play area would occupy 5 existing parking spaces in the northwest portion of the site. 7 parking spaces would remain for staff of the 5 units within the commercial building. Since these spaces can only be accessed by a single lane from the east, they are best suited for staff and not visiting patrons. Petitioner is requesting a reduction in the number of off-street parking spaces from 14 to 8 parking spaces. The designated spaces would include the 5 parking spaces closest to the future daycare center, units 4 and 5, in addition to the 3 northernmost parking spaces along the far eastern row of parking. Petitioner believes the proposed daycare center use is different from that of traditional commercial use in that its customer base has a high degree of turnover, concentrated peak times for dropping off and picking up children at the center. Furthermore, the petitioner will require all customers to use an online app that will expedite the check-in and pickup processes. If developed as proposed, the remaining 3 units within the commercial building would be left with a total of 23 parking spaces for staff and guest parking. The city's current parking formula for 1 parking space for every 180 square feet of gross floor area would require 23.5 parking spaces for this area. The finding of facts needed to support the requested variation as outlined in section 4719.8 of the city code establishes that a practical difficulty that warrants the requested variation from section 47-3.2B, the pre-existing building and parking would technically not meet the city's off-street parking requirements and applying the city's retail parking formula to the entire building, which would require 37 off-street parking spaces. Existing lot currently contains only 36 parking spaces. Requested variation to reduce parking requirement for the daycare center use for units 4 and 5 helps to provide a more realistic parking baseline that more closely meets the city's current parking standards for both the proposed daycare center use and any potential future uses within the commercial building. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve the special use permit, following conditions would be included. 1, that the daycare center business shall be registered with the city's clerk office. 2, that the petitioner provide a valid daycare center license from the state of Illinois prior to issuance of any necessary building permits. 3, that the petitioner provides a staffing plan pursuant to 407.9 of the state's licensing standards for daycare centers, the proposed daycare center prior to the issuance of necessary building permits. 4, that the petitioner submit a plan for fencing of the outdoor play area with design, style, and specifications of fencing shown prior to issuance of any necessary building permits. And lastly, 5, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to rehearing and possible revocation of a special use permit. And that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner here. You want to lower the mic on. There you go. I swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Name and address.
Maya Darden, address 673 Sullivan Lane.
Any comments you'd like to make?
I just would like to say that thank you all for hearing me out, and that I will also like to add that I am a non-for-profit, and that I am very experienced in what I am doing. That's all.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions by the board? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Come on forward. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under the penalty of law?
Yes.
Name and address.
Carla Liberty, 821 Farragut Place, Joliet, Illinois.
Go ahead.
Current employee of the building next door, 233 Springfield. Not opposed or against this proposition, very excited for new neighbors, but would like to comment that the current plan eliminating parking spaces for play area. Prior owner occupied all 5 units and was constantly using our parking lot. They did not have enough parking for their staff and or their customers. And we're happy to share our parking lot, but it is something we experienced on a daily basis. So just concerned, but again, excited for new neighbors.
Thank you. Anyone else? Chair closes petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Poll the board, please.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctry?
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
And seeing that those were for both those petitions, those are both zoning board matters, so that's final and that's approved. That doesn't go
Okay.
to city council, either one of those. Moving on to our next agenda item is 2022-69. The applicant is SOA Caterpillar LLC, doing business as Storage of America. Status of the applicant is a contract purchaser. The owner is Superior Property LLC, Caterpillar Series. Location is 310 Caterpillar Drive. Request is a special use permit. Under the purpose, the petitioner is requesting a special use permit to allow a mini storage facility within an office located at 310 Caterpillar Drive. Per the zoning ordinance, section 47-14.28G, indoor storage facilities may be allowed as special uses by the mayor and city council with the advice of the zoning board of appeals in accordance with section 47-5.2. Site-specific information: the 4.87 acre subject property has been farmed for agricultural uses throughout its existence. Property is bordered by office, commercial, and industrial uses to the east, west, and south. Fairway Estate subdivision can be found to the immediate north. Site would include 393 mini storage units, which would range in size between 25 and 250 square feet. Proposed layout of the units can be seen in the attached conceptual site plan. The aisles between each row of storage units will be paved with a bituminous surface and have a width between 25 feet and 37 feet. An 875 square foot office building for 3 employees will also be located on the site. Access to the site would be off a singular full access point of Caterpillar Drive over 100 feet north of McDonough Street. The attached conceptual site plan also contains proposed elevations of the storage buildings and black steel fencing for the site's perimeter. Pursuant to section 47-15E of the city's landscaping and screening regulations, conceptual site plan shows a 20-foot wide landscape buffer along the property's north, south, and east sides with a 5-foot wide landscape buffer along the property's west side. In addition, a 6-foot tall solid fence will be located on the north side of the property between the proposed storage facility use and the existing Fairway Estate subdivision. Proposed detention basin in the northwest corner of the site would also provide additional buffer distance between the storage units and a few of the properties located at Eagle Drive to the north. The business intends to be open between 6 a.m. and 10:30 p.m. At staff's request, the petitioner performed an EcoCAD survey of the subject property to determine if any natural resources or sensitive areas would be disturbed with any potential construction on the currently undeveloped site. The survey found no record of any state-listed threatened or endangered species and no Illinois natural area inventory site dedicated Illinois nature preserves or registered land and water reserves would be in the vicinity of the project location. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, to the north is B3, townhouse residential use. To the south is I2, industrial use. To the east is I1, daycare center use. To the west is I1, office use. Under applicable regulations, section 47-14.2 AG, special uses, I1 light industrial district. Section 47-5.2C, criteria for issuance of special use permit. And you can see the attached petition. Section 47-15E, landscaping and screening regulations. Under discussion, approval of the requested special use permit would allow the development of a mini storage facility with an office located at 310 Caterpillar Drive. Staff finds that the petitioner has established evidence that the criteria outlined in section 47.52C of the zoning ordinance, which covers the conditions that must be present for a special use permit to be issued, will be met with the proposed use and site plan. The requested mini storage facility use is a less intense use than certain uses such as warehousing, manufacturing, or wholesaling, which are all allowed by right in the I1 light industrial zone and typically involve higher daily traffic counts than the proposed storage use. Site will be required to conform to the city's landscaping and screening regulations, which will require a 20-foot wide landscape buffer and 6-foot tall solid fence along the northern property line. Access will be limited to one full access point from Caterpillar Drive, thereby removing conflicts with traffic along McDonough Street. The developer will also be required to install sidewalks along the Caterpillar Drive and McDonough Street frontages. Petitioner held a meeting with neighborhood residents on November 9th, 2022. Under conditions, the zoning board desires to approve this special use permit to allow the automobile sales business. The following conditions would be included: that the business shall be registered with the city clerk's office. 2, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing, possible revocation of the special use permit. And 3, that a city planning division approved landscape plan be submitted by the petitioner with the future building permit plans before installation. And that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner here.
Good afternoon. My name is Tom
Hold on.
Osterberger. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
You know the routine.
Get your hand up.
Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under the penalty of law?
So help me God.
Names and addresses.
I'm Tom Fitzpatrick.
Into the mic, please.
My name is Tom Fitzpatrick with Storage of America, and my office address is 6225 62nd Street in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Tom Osterberger. I'm an attorney for the landowner, 111 North Ottawa Street, Joliet, Illinois.
Okay, any comments, gentlemen?
Yeah, so everything Jim said was true. I think there was a typo in his report at the end. It was a special use for mini storage. He said automobile, which is not related. So we did have, I've owned this property for about 5 years. As you know, in our area, constantly getting people for trucks. We just tell them, no, we're not gonna sell to you, we're not gonna let you try. We've had heavy equipment storage, not appropriate. So along came Storage of America, and we were excited. We had a meeting with a neighborhood meeting. We had about 11 residents. I'm assuming this gentleman here is a resident as well. The 11 people also said they weren't against it. We took comments. The comments were passed on to Ray. Ray asked if adjustments could be made, and Tom agreed to everything they wanted. Jim's report was right in one material respect, and that is, this is absolutely the lightest use you're gonna get in I-1. This property has been zoned I-1. I assume at some point 30 years ago, the intent was to come off of McDonough with I-1. I believe staff wants the entrance off of Caterpillar. Storage of America's use is more like a residential use than an industrial use. Tom's gonna tell you that they expect less than 15 trips into there a day, which is well below what you'd see in an industrial use. The owners behind are not gonna have a noisy yard, which is where an industrial yard would be. Almost all industrial buildings these days, unless they're sheer warehouse, a small one this size would have a yard. So I think it's absolutely perfect. I would suggest that if you folks recommend approval, that the gentleman here talk to Ray, because Tom has been very accommodating. I don't think the city wants to change the location off of Caterpillar for the entrance, and they shouldn't. We know McDonough's too busy for homeowners to be going in and out of there. So I would, for the residents' sake, certainly my sake, but for the residents and for Storage of America, we would ask that you approve. And Tom has a little more information than Jim had in his report if you have questions.
Thank you. Storage of America has been around for about 20 years now. We started out as a small one, a mom and pop shop with a couple places, and we've grown immensely over the last few years. Primarily, we repurpose existing buildings, but we've had to start working into ground-up facilities. This would be our 29th site in the Midwest. We are centrally located out of Indianapolis, Indiana, but we're also in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. So we're really excited about this site. We're excited to bring our product to the city of Joliet. It's a nice site. It's not quite as, would not be one of our largest ones. We're also looking at properties in Kankakee, Illinois, and we recently, with the city of Aurora, Illinois, have developed a multi-use repurpose of a building of an old Carson Perry Scott store on Lake Street and in the center of town that has some retail establishments in it and a car wash going in on the corner. So it was a nice repurposement that we've done nearby in the area, but we're also looking at other places, and this is one of them. I think this would be probably our 29th site in our portfolio, and we pride ourselves on low cost, a clean facility, a safe facility, monitored facility, and that's why we have 3 employees on the site. A lot of places like us, they're going with kiosk and cameras, and you don't have that personal touch anymore, but you really have, it's really beneficial to have that personal touch. And Robert and Joni Walker, the owners of the company, have been a hands-on, I call them mom and pop, but they're not really mom and pop. They're still my age young, and they're very good people. Rob and Joni both just returned from 3 years as a mission president for their church. So that's the type of people they are. It's just been a joy to work for them and moving forward with this. So if, this still has to have detailed engineering plans through the city, for landscaping and for the fencing and stuff, to specifically show where it's at, so we can finish this. But this would be more like the use associated with the property. We, like Tom said, it's currently zoned industrial. This would be a very less intensive use. Noise, traffic, and activity is substantially less than another type of industrial use. Storage is also a big issue for people in transition, people moving from house to house or going through various transitions of death and things like that. So it's an essential use to the community, and it helps to have that nearby. But also people have, household things. And I did provide, one of the questions that the neighbors had was what could be stored there. And we don't allow a lot of hazardous material. We don't allow any hazardous materials or things of that nature. It's in our lease agreement. This gentleman here has a copy of that lease agreement if you need to see it. That eliminates a lot of that bad, less desirable information, like chemicals and things like that. We don't allow that on the site. We agree with the conditions that the neighbors had put forth for us. I think there's about 12 of those, Jim, is that correct? About 12 or 13 items, something like that?
Yeah, that's right.
We would, of course, have detailed landscaping plans, and we would also work with the neighbors to show them what that landscaping plan looks like after we have a landscape architect develop it up, just so they get a good, comfortable feeling with that. I would like to move the landscaping on the residential side of the fence, because you're gonna have a barrier fence there. At least they'll get they'll have the landscaping there instead of looking at a fence or a bare wall. And the perimeter of the property will be brick, a brick look. We're gonna try to match the brick that is on the residential areas as well, so it kind of gives it a neighborhood feel. At least if you're looking at it, it might even consider it being a neighborhood. Hopefully that we can find something like that. Sometimes it might be a little difficult, but we'll get something at least close. We have security cameras on the interior of our facility, usually at corners and key locations, so we can, spot any activities that are nefarious or anything like that. So we have lights that are pointed downward inside. It's a minimum lot or minimum light, so at least people can get in and out in accordance with fire code and things of that nature, but it doesn't point up to the sky. It doesn't go above our units or anything like that. And like Jim said, we're putting sidewalks along the Caterpillar and McDonough Street. And I think they also want us to put some light poles up in accordance with the city ordinance, electrical light poles for sidewalks along McDonough. And I think there'd be about 3 of them necessary if you follow the existing pattern that's out there right now. So we have a keypadded gate, so the entrance has a keypad. When you rent a unit, you have a keypad, and you punch in a code, opens up, and you go in, and then when you exit, you punch in your code again to exit. The gate pivots, so it doesn't get involved with the snow and things like that. The office is occupied from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Monday through Saturday. That's our normal operating times. We employ generally 3 employees. We'd probably have 1 part-time maintenance person that would go from Aurora to here to Kankakee in the future. Even if we don't, we'd at least have Aurora in here. Kankakee is still, we haven't got the use permit on that yet. So, but Aurora, we're moving forward with the architectural plans right now. So we do know that that's in the works. And then we'd have an office manager and an assistant office manager at the site. Keypad entrance is only available between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. Daily. So between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. at night, you can't even access the code with it. And there's motion sensors that are on our cameras too. So if somebody is in there after hours, and it happens a lot, where somebody's in there and they lose track of time, moving their equipment around or whatever, moving their household materials, they may set the alarm off, but they call, the security company calls us or the police department first. If it's in the later hours of the night, they call the police right away. So the police would be given a code that they can access the site with, and the fire department as well. Usually there's an eye on there that allows them to go right through the gate. It opens up before they get there. So we have a security fence that surrounds the perimeter as well. So people can't jump. It's generally designed so you can't jump it. And it's a black iron fence that is kind of decorative in nature. So if there's any questions, I'm here to answer them. And thank you for your time.
Any comments?
So there should be a meeting, I guess, with this gentleman here. You were not part of that original group that met with them, is that right?
No, I was there.
Okay. 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 So they understand your concerns? Okay.
Any other questions by the board?
There's someone back there.
Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone opposed? Ma'am, do you have something? Come forward. I'm going to swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Your name and address.
My name is Carlotta Sims, and I reside at 2640 Parkour Lane. And I have been living in Fairway Estates for approximately 21 years now. And I didn't attend the first meeting because I had got the letter a little bit late, but I had made contact with Mr. Ray Heitner, and he gave me some information as to what happened. During the meeting, he gave me the information for today's meeting. I'm coming in regards to concerns regarding safety for for some of our, primarily, a majority of the residents of Fairway Estates 1 is elderly. And we live in 1 and 2-story units. And safety and security has been a concern over the years. Elderly population, we've had continued concern regarding safety at night, during the day. Traffic with the proposal, there's gonna be a traffic increase, an increase in traffic. With the number of units, depending on how many units there is, of course, there's gonna be traffic increase as well as people coming and going that doesn't necessarily reside in the area. And the transition for others that they're making, I understand they may be making transitions on a regular basis, but we're still concerned about having individuals in the area that we're not aware of. That's been going on since I've been living there. For lack of a better word, less desirables. We look out for each other, but I understand that the site that they're gonna have cameras on site for their safety, but we're concerned about our safety. Because once someone leaves that site, you know, what they're gonna do at Fairway Estates, we're just right behind them. We got Fairway 2 and we have Fairway 1, okay? And that's my biggest concern, and that's, you know, and we have 2 other residents who live in Fairway Estates 1 here also. But on behalf of myself, based on the information I just received, I understand that you're gonna have keypads and lighting, but over for Fairway 1, that lighting is not gonna exist, it's not gonna protect us, it's only gonna increase the population. And that's my biggest concern.
Thank you. Anyone else? Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, sir.
Name and address.
Ron Richter at 2534 Par 4 Court. And I'm not opposed to the, what they want to do there, but like she had mentioned about the traffic, they're talking about 8 to 15 possible people coming in and out, but that's still adding more traffic to California Drive. And I would like to see the entrance on McDonough Street. If that's all there is 8 to 15, that would stop that much more traffic on a daily basis. They were mentioning a iron fence, which would be actually a see-through fence. And I think that the residents would rather have a solid fence so that they don't have to look at the units behind the berm. And it would cut down on the noise, people coming and going. It's open till 10:30 at night, and these people are looking out their patio door, and they're looking straight at the units, which are fine, but at 10 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you're still gonna see the headlights of the people coming in. So if they could put a solid fence on there, it would help the residents away, because they're looking out, they wanna look out there, look at the berm, look at the trees and stuff, and I think it'd just be a lot more better for the residents that are there.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And there will be a solid fence in between this and the neighbors, just to add.
Come on forward if you're coming. Oh. Come forward and speak in the microphone. I must swear you in, ma'am. Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, I swear.
And I need your name and address.
Elaine Flynn, Flynn, and I live in the same neighborhood that these people do. And I'm in agreement with everything they said, that it's gonna be, a lot more traffic. And the people that are there now, it's a quiet place, but with more traffic and people coming in and out, it's gonna make us feel very insecure. And we're just not in favor of it.
Okay, thank you.
So I agree with everything that, she said.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, God. Do you swear the evidence you're about presents the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, sir.
Your name and address?
My name is Rick Flynn. I live at 2705 Eagle Drive in Fairway Estates 1. I don't know about this project going up on that area. I know one thing, is that the farmer always planted corn, and it's organic, and I always got my corn there. Now, if this goes through, I don't know where I'm gonna get my corn. Traffic is a big concern. There's a storage unit on Jefferson right next to the gas station. I don't ever see a lot of cars going in and out of that storage facility there. The cars that I have seen go in there, they have to take their time and punch in the numbers to get in and let the gate open. But I do notice this is that part of the car is still on Jefferson, so they're blocking traffic from Jefferson trying to get in. And I'm just wondering if that's gonna be the same kind of a problem on Caterpillar Drive where somebody's trying to get into their unit and there's not, excuse me, sorry. There's not enough room for a car to fully get in to let traffic go in behind him. The other thing I'm really concerned about is that, okay, there's gonna be a fence that'll separate the homeowners' condominiums and his business. And I come from the old school that I've seen people throw their trash over fences because they're too lazy to find a garbage can. And I'm really concerned about that kind of an attitude where people might go in there and rent those units for the sake of storing something and then taking their garbage and throw it in over the fence. So I'm kind of concerned about the health and the safety and the good looks of our area, whether it's going to be deteriorated or it's going to be a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, could I respond?
Yes, please.
I'm starting to wonder, as you know, I'm here a fair amount. You guys have to listen to all sides. But people want to complain. I can guarantee you that there is not a less intensive use. And this property is not going to be in corn for a very long time. By asking you folks to vote against it, if they were to get your vote against this, they're ensuring that they will have no say and they will have an absolutely intensive I-1 use. I don't understand the objections. I just simply cannot understand. And we certainly want your vote, but your vote in favor is a vote for the residents. And I hope that at our neighborhood meeting that the council really asked us to have, that they understood that and they said they did. This is gonna get developed under an I-1 under one of the other classes. I'm at a loss. So I understand their concerns, but before those homes were there, it was a cornfield and people liked that cornfield. And now they're homes. But the A1 zoning, this is never gonna be a residential zoning. We can talk to staff. That's not how properties get zoned. The city would never downzone it to A1 to put homes in front of the old Caterpillar, which is now mainly trucks coming in and out. So, again, I think the objections are concerned about change, but this would be the best change they'd see. Thank you.
If I may address a couple concerns that some of the speakers had. The trash, can I eliminate that from happening? No, that's an individual, happening, but we do know who does it. Because if a person is there, they enter in a code. We know who that person is, and we know when they leave. If they don't leave, and we have them on camera doing it, it's recorded. So we know stuff like that happens. We have dumpsters for our customers, and they're supposed to be placing their items in dumpsters, and we have it regularly policed. And our staff also does I call it a police call because I come from the military, but, you know, it's they go around and they do a perimeter check of the whole building before they leave and make sure there's no unnecessary trash and stuff like that left out. And they'll take care of it. The fence, we had that black wrought iron fence. That's a security fence. If you can climb over that and not get injured in climbing over that, I want to see it. It's tough to do. There might be some people that can, but I just know it's designed specifically so it's very difficult to get over the top of without seriously injuring yourself. So people don't do it. I've seen people try to do it and they're caught doing it. And if they're there trying to get in, we'll know about it at the same time the police department knows about it when it happens. We consider our properties very secure and safe because, you know, it's just like your home. You want your home secured. Well, this is people's items from their home. So we take that upon ourselves and put ourselves in their place to help them take care of their stuff securely in their storage unit. So, thank you.
But did we understand earlier, didn't you say there's also a brick wall going in?
There's a brick along the exterior of the property. The exterior units, where the backs of those units are, is gonna be brick. I think that, you can see the photo right there, where that's facing the road, that's gonna be brick, okay? But then there's also where the building is not, or even sometimes where the building is, there'll be that security fence on it. But you're not gonna climb up that brick to get over the top of the building either.
So, okay, thank you, that's helpful, but one of the residents was concerned about being able to see the storage units from the front porch.
Oh, there's in the plans, on the plan, it shows a barrier fence between the residential and between us. So
Okay.
they won't be able to see it.
Thank you.
There's two fences, there's a
Yeah,
security
yeah.
fence. Okay.
In some places, there might be two fences where it's a barrier fence. Some of it will be just the backs of the buildings, but it'll be brick with the fence too, so. And then you'll have the landscaping in front of it, so.
Okay.
Do they sign leases there, or is that month to month, or how does that work? So if there were problems in there, what's your ability to evict someone from there?
We have to evict people just like you'd have to evict a renter from a house. We have to go through this very similar
Just go
process.
through the legal process?
Yep. So, yeah, that's pretty much the way we're required by law to go by that, so.
Okay, thank you. I kind of agree that that's zoned industrial, it's always going to be industrial. And this is probably one of the least aggressive and invasive projects you could have there. It's been stated that you're probably doing you a favor by having that there. With that, I will close the petition and ask the board for discussion and a motion.
I move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
And this
Thank you,
does,
gentlemen.
This does go to city council, so it will be scheduled for the December 19th and 20th city council meetings, and they'll make final recommendation on that. Moving on to 2022-70. This is, the applicant is A&D Properties. The owner is the same, location is 100 Barney Drive. Request is a special use permit. For the purpose, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow a construction equipment sales and rentals in a B3 general business zoning district and an I1 light industrial zoning district at the former Alexander Lumber Facility located at 100 Barney Drive. City council makes a final decision for the special use permit request upon the recommendation of the zoning board of appeals on this. Under site-specific information, Alexander Lumber operated a lumberyard and millwork business for several decades in this mixed-use area along the former Elgin, Joliet, and Eastern Railroad line, which is now a bike trail. RP Lumber acquired the business in late 2021 and permanently closed the Joliet facility. There are 3 properties associated with the former lumberyard business. However, only 2 are subject to a special use permit request. First property includes the showroom, office, and asphalt parking lot, and this property is owned B3 General Business. Second property, located to the rear of the showroom office building, includes several storage buildings and is zoned I-1 light industrial. Together, the 2 subject properties comprise approximately 5.45 acres. Their surrounding zoning, land use, and character: to the north is B3 General Business and I-1 light industrial, and its medical office and vacant land use. To the south is B3 General Business and I-1 light industrial, and the uses are small multi-tenant retail building and manufacturing. To the east is I-1 light industrial, and that's a variety of industrial uses there. To the west is R2 single-family residential, and that's Parkview Residential Subdivision. Under applicable regulations, 47-13.28G, special uses for B3 general business districts, and 47.5.2C, criteria for issuance of a special use permit. You can see the attachment. Under discussion and the properties, the petitioner and new property owner tends to lease the 2 subject properties to Herc Rentals, which is an equipment rental company with approximately 350 locations across the United States and Canada, 7 of which are in the greater Chicago area. This location, Herc seeks to rent specialized construction equipment to contractors as well as residents. List of the proposed equipment will be available at this location, can be found on the attachment to the staff report. City of Joliet zoning ordinance requires a special use permit for this use. The company will also conduct maintenance on its equipment at this location. No changes to the buildings or site are planned with the exception of demolition of buildings that have no functional use. Buildings and site will be used in a similar fashion to that of Alexander Lumber, with office operations and indoor display in the front of the main building, maintenance and storage to the rear of the main building, and storage of specialized equipment within the buildings of the rear lot and in the yard of the rear lot. Proposed hours of operations will be 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. The business is closed on weekends. Petitioner held a neighborhood meeting on the proposal for this site on Thursday, November 10th, within the main building at 100 Barney Drive. Additional meeting details are not available as of the writing of the staff report. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve the special use permit, following conditions would be included. 1, that the equipment shall be displayed, that equipment shall not be displayed nor stored in the front parking lot adjacent to Barney Drive. 2, that the special use granted shall herein lapse unless occupancy is obtained within 180 days. And lastly, 3, failure to comply with any above conditions could result in a rehearing and a possible revocation of the special use permit. And that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner present.
Tom Osterberger on behalf of 111 North Ottawa Street on behalf of applicants.
I will swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about presents the truth under a penalty of law?
I do.
Your name and address.
My name's Paul Zaremba. I'm the area manager for Herc Rentals. I work out of 770 Larson Lane in Bensonville, Illinois.
Okay, you've been sworn in, Tom, so go ahead.
Yes, so we did have a meeting. Jane was there, Councilman Mudrin, and 1 landowner, 1 homeowner, Kitty Corner, who actually used to work there. Their only concern was the hours of operation. They were satisfied and left. The zoning ordinance on the rental is kind of interesting why it's there. City staff takes a conservative approach, but the B3 in front is what you see, say, in Oakleaf, And then the back is I-1, and you know what that is. So these folks are planning to have small equipment outside, or, you know, small trenchers, and he'll tell you a little more about it. But that could be there anyway, so it's kind of interesting that we need the special use for the rental, but nonetheless, we do. Alexander was kind of sad for a long time as they slowly went out of business, so hopefully these guys will come in and really clean it up, energize it, and have a good use. I don't think it would be that dissimilar than another related use. They just happen to be renting these things out. Some trips out in the morning, some trips back. This is essentially what Rental Max does downtown and in Crest Hill. So with that, if you can add anything, the building itself is gonna stay the same, and everything behind it would be blocked. So the only thing we'll see different is a limited number of trips in and out.
Yeah, that's exactly what the gentleman said when he was talking about it, where we rent construction equipment, it'll be to homeowners and small contractors. We'll have a few delivery vehicles that'll, go out in the morning and, depending on demand, basically, for things that need to be delivered that, the particular contractor or homeowner doesn't have the ability to, pick up and bring back on their own. The front will be all either employee parking or customer parking. Inside will be office staff, the rental counter, and then, of course, the existing showroom will have the different tools on display so people can see what they're renting and maybe get, shown how to use it properly. And then the back will be all for maintenance, cleaning the equipment when it comes back, and storage of bigger things that can be stored outside, and so we don't take up the space that we have. That's basically it.
Thank you.
This is a perfect example. They're one of our competitors, so.
Any other comments by the board? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Chair closes petitions the floor. Ask the board for a motion and vote.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Pull the board, please.
Mr. Lucio?
Aye.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
And this, like the last one, will go to city council on the 19th and 20th of December. Last on our agenda for agenda items is 2022-71. The applicant is Castle Holding Group LLC. The status of the applicant is owner-developer. Location is 23525 and 23551 South Vetter Road. The request is a special use permit. The purpose, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow a truck and travel plaza with a truck terminal for Legacy Express Trucking for the City of Joliet ordinance. Truck facilities and fueling centers may be allowed as special uses by the mayor and city council with the advice of the zoning board of appeals in accordance with section 47.5.2. Site-specific information, the subject site will be under consideration for annexation zoning classification I-1 light industrial and approval of an annexation agreement at the Plan Commission meeting this afternoon. Let's see, the 18-acre site is comprised of 2 parcels that are currently vacant, unincorporated residential uses. Parcels adjacent to the west end of the site were annexed to the city in October 21 for use as right-of-way for the widening of Vetter Road related to the Humboldt Road Bridge project. September 2022, the city council approved a street name change to Humboldt Road to the section of Vetter Road from Schweitzer Road to Center Point Way. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the zoning and land use for the adjacent properties are as follows. To the north is unincorporated Will County A1 agricultural and its undeveloped gas pipeline. To the south is unincorporated Will County A1 and its residential use. To the east is City of Joliet IT Intermodal Terminal Industrial Use. To the west is City of Joliet IT Intermodal Terminal right-of-way and unincorporated Will County A1 Ag to residential use to the west. Under applicable regulations, section 47-14.3D, B3 uses all industrial districts. Section 47-13.2AN, automobile service stations. 47-14.2AD, special uses, all industrial districts. 47.5.2C, criteria for issuance of special use permit, and you could refer to the attachment. Under discussion, the petitioner, Castle Holding Group LLC, is requesting a special use permit to allow a truck and travel fueling center along with a truck terminal for Legacy Express Trucking. Legacy Express Trucking provides trucking and transportation services throughout the U.S. and specializes in intermodal shipments. They have been based in Joliet since 2015 and are currently located at 2800 Schweitzer Road. They operate around 200 trucks from 7 offices nationally, with around 120 trucks operating from their Joliet location. The proposed fueling center, which will be owned by Legacy and one of their partners, is intended to serve the traffic traveling on Humboldt Road between Interstate 80 and the Intermodal Center. The proposed truck terminal, which includes a warehouse, truck parking, and a repair building, would serve around 60 of Legacy's trucks that perform daily short-haul trips. Legacy would also continue to operate from their current location on Schweitzer Road. Site plan proposal for the fueling center, you can see the attachment includes includes 22 automobile fueling pumps, 12 truck fueling pumps, and a 10,000 square foot convenience store with 59 accessory automobile parking spaces. The proposed truck terminal is located behind the fueling center and includes a 25,600 square foot warehouse building with office space, 26 automobile parking spaces, and 73 truck parking stalls. Proposed 7,875 square feet building for truck repair is located to the north of the truck fueling pumps. Stormwater detention is located at the east end of the property. Site plan is conceptual at this time and subject to change as the petitioner works with city staff on several components, including the number of location of curb cuts on Vetter Road. The proposed development will be required to comply with the city's non-residential design standards and the landscape and screening regulations. Landscaping requirements will include a 30-foot landscape area and berm along the west property line. Sewer and water connection fees and development impact fees will be required. Payment in lieu of taxes will be required per the terms of the approved ordinance. Funds collected from the pilot will be used for adjacent city street maintenance. Property is subject to recapture fees for Vetter Road improvements. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve the special use permit, the following conditions would be included. 1, that a landscape plan and meets city ordinance shall be submitted as part of the building permit plan set. 2, that the building shall comply with the city's non-residential design standards. 3, that the piers of the automobile and truck fueling canopies shall be faced with masonry material that matches the material used on the travel center facility. 4, that the development shall be required to make a payment in lieu of taxes and per the terms of the ordinance. And lastly, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to rehearing, a possible revocation of the special use permit. And that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner? Raise your right hand. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Names and addresses.
Isa 19417 South Hunter Trail, Mokina, Illinois.
Gary Myers, 21 Ashford Court, Lincolnshire, Illinois.
Any comments, gentlemen?
So, I think the applicants can give you a little bit more of information. I wanted to address one thing, our objector, you know, in 2007 or so, when CenterPoint had created their large footprint, they largely sealed the fate of the residents in that area. I represented a lot of them. We negotiated with them, got paid probably more than the house would have been worth, and unfortunately the folks had to move. It was further sealed when the city of Joliet and the county decided to put a bridge, and Vetter Road was recently expanded. I mean, it's not gonna go back to what it was. So then we look to the footprint and we say, if you guys have been on CenterPoint Lane, you're behind in the morning, you're behind 30, 40 trucks waiting to get through by the intermodal. I mean, that's what's down there, and it's not gonna change. What these folks would like to do, and incidentally, the one house that was purchased by the applicant, I represented her years ago, and she's on Vetter, and she said, look, this is terrible. And I said, the planning and growth and development goes, and unfortunately, it's gonna take some time, but you're eventually gonna sell for multiples. And that's literally what happened. Money is not a substitute for what people want and their happiness, but it's the only thing you can do is move and go to another area. With that said, this area is appropriate for both truck terminals, which we've got other ones on Vetter Road. If we're gonna have to have that use, we want it south of the river, if we can have it south of the river. And almost 3 million trucks and more than 1 million cars that go over that bridge every year. And there isn't enough service, and that's what these folks want to propose. So with that, I leave them to answer any questions on their operation.
Gentlemen, any questions?
Have a question?
Is there anyone in the audience speak in favor?
They may have a presentation.
Well, do you want to make a presentation?
Okay, sorry.
Sure, you can speak to the economic impact of the area.
The positioning of the facility there will do a couple of things, all of which are beneficial. It will generate well over $2 million a year in revenue for the city of Joliet without increasing any significant demands upon city uses, such as there'll be no demands on the school system, and in general, it'll be very positive. In addition, with the advent of the bridge coming in, the traffic is going to be enormously increased. There will be a demand for two things. There's going to be a demand for much more fuel, which the existing facility cannot handle. There is a need for another truck stop. In addition, there'll be a truck repair facility, which will, which will significantly, which is needed because with the additional truck traffic, there will be a need for repairs. But in addition to that, having the extra repair facility on site and the extra fueling positions will make traffic flow much more smoothly, because right now there are jam ups. In addition, the truck repair facility will aid what is going on in the rail yards, because right now there are large backups because the trailers cannot leave the rail facility without having been inspected, and there'll be an effort to try and make some of those inspections come over here, so that all in all, everything it'll increase traffic flow and make things much more efficient, which will in general be a benefit to the overall community and the city of Joliet.
Thank you. Anything else? Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Chair closes petition, ask the board for discussion. We got somebody coming? Oh, here we go.
You guys just don't want to give me credit. You guys just want to hurry up and forget about me. You know, I've lived out here on Vetter Road. First, I got to be sworn in.
That's right. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, I agree.
And your name and address?
My name is Kathleen Garthis. I live at 23656 South Vetter Road. That's just south of there, on the other side of the road there. I have lived out here nearly my whole life, and I've seen all the changes with all this industrial, and has not have been good. It has been negative effect. As we know, we hear how many people complain about the truck traffic and everything. It's been negative. It has not been a positive thing for Joliet or the county or the state or the residents. It's not been positive on any of this. And as far as, needing being, the quality of life, like I said, the property taxes, because they bought these 2 pieces of land for so much money, it negatively affect our property taxes to us that want to stay out there and live. You got people on the other side of that road there, which is not shown. They got plenty of pictures of the land there and down the road, but they failed to get pictures there of the people's houses that are across the street here. And this is on a hill. This is on a big hill. You know, people coming from the north heading south on Vetter Road, there's a hill there. You're not gonna be able to see coming over the top of these hills, trucks or cars entering or exiting this facility in time. They come right over the hill, there's gonna be a truck coming right out on the other side of that hill. It's very dangerous. This is a hilly road. So you can't see that in the picture, how hilly Vetter Road is. It's full of hills. And I've already had incidents and problems here with Legacy, with them training their truck drivers, doing illegal U-turns on Vetter Road and everything, training their truckers to speed when the speed limit's 30 miles an hour. I've witnessed Legacy trucks speeding down Vetter Road. And the noise and everything, you know, what they want, you know, this does not need to be right across the street from our houses. Like I said, we've been living out here our whole life, basically my whole life. You got the neighbor, Mike Marcio, to the north of me. He's got a beautiful place. He's got beautiful land and everything. I got my other neighbor out back in here, just south of me. We love it out here. You know, when Centerpoint came out here, we were told Centerpoint, we do not want to move. You know, we have been fighting the city and the county on this, about keeping the noise down and keeping our rights, trying to keep our quality of life out here. Now, if you let this thing pass, this is going to take whatever remaining quality of life we have left away from us. There would be no reason for us to even get up in the morning anymore. Because of the noise and the lights, you guys don't realize it. And any fence ain't gonna be enough to keep the noise away and everything. And these guys, as far as talking to neighbors about this project, of course, nobody talked to us neighbors. We were just shocked as can be at what's gonna go on with these two properties. You know, they don't bother talking to us. So I'm asking that you don't approve this. For our remaining quality of life out here, we are the remaining ones that are fighting Centerpoint. I got Centerpoint's last thing objected by the city when they wanted to do their improvements over their next phase on Brandon Road and close off Schweitzer Road to us remaining residents out here. Joliet Council denied Centerpoint their latest phase. So you think Centerpoint can't be denied or anything or shut down? Yeah, they can. And as far as, you know, needing, you know, gas stations and everything, there's one at the end of Vetter Road and Centerpoint Way. There's gonna be ones after this bridge opens up on Route 6 over there. They're putting a new one there. So there's plenty of places for trucks to fill, and they got filling places down Laraway at 53. There are plenty of places for trucks to get their diesel fuel. And they have their own repair station over there on Schweitzer Road as is anyway. So why are they gonna come and disturb us? You know, we're trying to keep the peace, you know, what we have. And these guys are just coming in, you know, you gotta stop thinking about, oh, all this development is good. It's not good. You haven't been looking at the website, looking on Facebook of the people's complaints about the problems that all this industrial has created. And I would ask that you deny it.
Anyone else wishing to speak? No, go ahead.
The truck traffic in Joliet's been an issue, which is the reason this bridge is being built. Joliet would like the truck traffic on Vetter Road in the intermodal district, and our truck stop, as well as our diesel repair for the trucks, is meant to keep them exactly where Joliet would like them, not taking wrong turns on Chicago Street in front of the residential over there. We'd like to service it. We'd like to service the truck traffic where Joliet wants the truck traffic. And in terms of our truck speeding down the road, we've been model citizens in Joliet since 2015. Our neighbor came to our grand opening. Our trucks don't speed. Safety is the pinnacle of everything we do at Legacy Express Trucking. She has tried to stop our trucks down Vetter Road, saying that this isn't a truck route, and we all obviously know it is. So again, we've been in Joliet since 2015. We just moved to our current location at the foot of the bridge a year ago, and we've had no complaints from the city. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No, ma'am, you had the floor. You're not allowed to come up here again. You've had it twice. Be seated, please.
What he just said that about, yeah, stopping the trucks, yeah, at the time, there was a sign at the other end of Vetter Road, right by the DHL warehouse, there was a sign there that said no trucks. So that's why I stopped the trucks and confronted them. You know, when a sign is a circle with a truck in there / circle, that's no trucks. It said no trucks on there. And then when I came to their grand opening, their legacy, you know, they didn't tell me that they were gonna have so many trucks in their parking lot. There's only supposed to be so many in their parking lot. You go by their parking lot and their parking lot's filled, but they got further parking to the west of their place down there at Schweitzer that's not even been used yet. And I was also told by one of the people who worked there, told me they're running red fuel in their diesel trucks. A red fuel is off-road. You're not to run them in on-road diesel trucks.
Chair is closing the petition to the floor and asking the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
No.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
This will go with the recommendation for approval to the December 19th and 20th city council meeting.
There's only 3 votes, it wouldn't be.
It's a majority of your
The quorum.
quorum. So city council will have the final say on that. Under old, new business, not for final action or recommendation, we have none. Next order of business is public comments. This section is for anyone wanting to speak on non-agenda items and are allowed a maximum of 4 minutes. Would anybody like to speak on a non-agenda item? Seeing none, we can move on to adjournment.
Motion to adjourn would be in order.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Noctre?
Poll the board, yeah.
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. You know,
Thank you.
the majority of people
Happy
present doesn't
Thanksgiving.
pass that. You need a majority.